Hey guys, Nikolai here. What am I saying? And I wanted to tell you guys all about the new Black Crows Anima, which I have been fortunate enough to ride now, the better part of this season. And the original Anima, which came out in like 2015, I think, 2016, has been my go-to ski for big mountain skiing, big mountain ski touring. All the lines where I want a ski that's like really stable at high speeds, still turns fast, responsive, and has like that feeling of a stable platform when you're doing airs and landing, switch, regular. This ski does it all. It has been doing it all, and now it's updated. So one of the like first things I've always loved about this ski is I'm 187 centimeters tall. I'm a big dude, and it's hard to find long skis. The Anima originally came out in a 194 length, as well as all the other lengths, of course. It still does that. That has not changed. Big fan of that. But yeah, I thought I'd talk about what has changed and how that affects how it skis and my experience of it now, the past few months. So Julien Renier, the one, the only, the French icon, originally designed the ski to be sort of like a backcountry freestyle ski. Myself and Christopher Turdell and a bunch of other guys on the team and off the team have been using it more for kind of like big mountain, to be honest, like big lines, and feels like a lot of the guys doing more like jibs have been going for the Nocta. It has like the characteristics of like a classic powder jib ski in a way. It has camber underfoot, big rocker in the nose, big rocker in the tail. It used to have a really big tail on the old version. This has been taken down a bit now on the newer version, but I don't feel a difference. I'm not that good at landing switch, but I don't feel this has affected my ability to land switch. Can still do it at times. It's 115 underfoot still in the new version as well as in the old. What has changed though is that the radius has actually gotten tighter. So it used to have a 21 meter turning radius, and I kind of liked that it was like a slower ski. Like when you were going really fast, it was kind of you didn't initiate a turn like right away. It wasn't like that super snappy ski. It didn't have that feel of the Atris. So when I took this out for the first time now, just after Christmas or before Christmas, I was really surprised by like how quickly it turned, even when going slow. And I was a bit concerned that that would affect its high speed performance because it's now down to a 19 meter turning radius. But honestly, like I haven't really noticed that it's worse at high speeds. It still is like slarves really well, and it's good. Yeah, like it dumps speed really easily without feeling jittery. Like it feels like solid, even if you're going really fast, even if it is like a bit hard packed or cruddy or not perfect conditions, it is performing. And I do think part of why this is because they have made it stiffer as well. So it is a little bit stiffer throughout to make it a bit more stable at high speeds. And I think that works. That has worked well for me. So it actually kind of gives you more like a Hannah Montana vibe. Because now it is way easier to turn at slower speeds, and it feels more responsive and more playful. But it still retains that high speed stability, and I feel like I can still count on it for doing bigger lines. The shorter turning radius has also made it a bit wider, both in the nose and in the tail, about like 5-6 millimeters, I think. It feels like it floats a little bit better in powder than it used to. I got one question about camber. So they do have a fair amount of camber. Some guy in the comments asked do you think that's too much, too little? I like camber. I like camber in my skis. I feel like having both like a solid camber and a good rocker really gives you like everything you want for your ski day. Like it is so rare that I have a day where I'm just skiing powder. Like most of the time it'll be, parts of your line will be wind affected, or it'll have blown off a little ridge, it'll be icy. You never know what you're gonna get to, or even just like the transport. to get in or out of the terrain you're actually skiing won't be good. And having good camber does give you that extra grip in these conditions, while having a solid rocker really helps for float. And like I've not felt like these sinking, like anywhere near sinking in any kind of deep snow. So I'm personally a fan of camber. It is fun to ride like fully reverse cambered skis too, but I just find that it's way less versatile, especially for the kind of skiing I do. Like Norway, we don't get all that much snow. So I find it's good. Mounting these skis, I would actually mount the Old Animas like +1, just to have a bit less of a bit more forward, a bit more aggressive stance, to make it a bit easier to initiate turns. But maybe now it's because of that new turning radius. I'm really happy with just the recommended stance. I've been riding them at recommended and it works really well. I've only mounted them with touring bindings, the G3 Iron 12. Get a lot of questions about that too. Can you go ski touring on the Anima? Can you go ski touring on the Atris? Are they not too heavy for ski touring? And I'd say no. They're not. They're great. I've been ski touring on them for multiple years. And I just think it really depends on what you want to ride, you know? If you want to go ski touring to ride like slow and controlled and sort of mellower terrain, not doing a lot of airs, sure, you know, go for a more lightweight, less downhill oriented touring ski. That makes sense. But for me, like I go ski touring to ride, you know, the terrain that other people access with helicopters and sleds, and I want a ski that performs in that terrain. So for me, like it doesn't make sense to, you know, put in all the effort to make it to that amazing spine line or couloir or whatever, and not have a ski that will perform in that terrain. So I mean, admittedly, these skis are pretty heavy. I think they're like 2,400 grams, like 2.4 kilos, which is on the heavier side for a touring ski, for sure. But it just comes down to, I think it's like momentum and dampness. It is really hard to have a ski that performs well in variable snow without having a certain amount of mass in your ski. It just gives you that feeling where it absorbs more of the shock. On the other hand, I do see people mounting like heavy MNC touring bindings or even frame bindings on like lightweight touring skis, and I don't think that makes any sense, because you do want to minimize weight when you're ski touring, for sure. Wherever I can, I try to save weight, and for me the bindings is where I do that. On this setup, I use this lighter pin based touring setup from G3 Iron. Been using these for 3-4 years now, I think, and I think these really hold up actually. I've still to ski a line where these bindings have failed on me. And I mean, if it is super icy, I do lock them for sure. But I'm not generally charging on super icy conditions. I generally wait for better snow. So, I mean, my philosophy there is, you know, have a ski that performs like you want it to, have a binding that performs like you want it to. But I do think that a lot of people in the, you know, touring world, especially if you're skiing a lot of resort, you don't really trust pin bindings, you haven't used them a lot. I do feel like they go overkill on the bindings, and you're lugging all this weight around that you don't really need, and it's kind of a hassle to use too. These are like fully, you know, like race style when you switch around to skiing, and I found that they work really well with this ski. And that's that. Still happy with the Anima. It's funny, like when it comes to ski design, I feel like not a lot has changed since Julian, of all people, came up with rocker camber design, and I put the link to it below, so check that out. And yeah, thanks for checking in.